Hello everyone and welcome back to Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin Edition. Last time we've bought this lovely armor set and we've unlocked this bonfire and we've talked to this guy. His name I don't remember, but he and Pate, who I might accidentally refer to as Patches from time to time because he's kind of this game's version of Patches, they are not friendly towards each other. And towards us. I guess this is a bit of a spoiler alert, but throughout their questline you will encounter one or the other saying, don't trust that other guy, he's a bit of a crook, or rather he is a massive crook and he will attempt to kill you and take all your stuff. And it feels like in the end, well, at some point you're basically supposed to make a decision, who do you trust, who don't you trust? But it very much feels like you're meant to, like, there's supposed to be a right answer. But here's the thing, there isn't. They are both evil. They are both trying to get you killed. Incidentally, do not get cursed, destroy these jars somewhat swiftly. You can use iron arrows to destroy them from range if you need to. And there we go. That's the lizard that I actually missed last time behind this shortcut. I did not actually want to get a backstab there, because unlike in Dark Souls 1, you're not entirely immune to damage during all of your backstab animation. So if there's multiple enemies around you, it might be more prudent to try and hit them all with some kind of sweep, like this, to stun them all. If you get a backstab on one of them, you're only damaging one of the enemies, and the other guys can still damage you while you're doing the backstab. You're invincible during parts of it, but not all of it, basically. And so, sometimes getting a backstab is actually not what you're looking for. And now I think I will do the Skeleton Lord's boss fight first, since I'm here. It's not the most difficult of fights, but I might still die. It's a distinct possibility. So they descend from their thrones. And the way this fight works is it's a horde fight. So again, the difficulty comes from there being a lot of enemies. As you can see, once you kill one of the actual lords, a bunch of little skeletons will spawn. And it really depends on which one you kill, what kind of enemies spawn. Point is, you do not want to kill more than one of the big guys at a time. So right now, my plan is to deal a little with these small skeletons. No. We want to run away now. So that's always the plan, kind of kite them around. This is actually, I find, the most tedious of these spawns, because it will spawn, I don't know, 20 of these little things. And I've explained that the combat system is not really designed for horde fights. And that's why this game has so many, because horde fights are difficult, because the combat system really doesn't work with them. And in this game they really were desperate to make it more difficult. I've explained this before, it's kind of sad. But during development, someone made a silly comment in an interview saying he was going to make the game more accessible, which people interpreted as being really, really bad. I keep going on about this, but that's because the whole way that went down really annoys me. And yeah, they can actually damage each other, but their fireballs are lousy weak. Honestly, I would have preferred if they made the fireballs a bit more difficult. So, you know, have them actually deal damage. And not have them damage each other. Because it seems like that's just kind of a wasted mechanic. But yeah. They then desperately wanted to make the game harder because suddenly all the fanboys were on the fence about, oh, the game is going to be more accessible. And the word that was used in that fateful interview was accessible, not easy. Which they're not the same word. They do mean different things. Okay, let's get the scythe guy next. Okay, I should probably use semesters since I have it. This should now spawn, yeah, armored skeletons. And see, that was an unblocked hit by that fireball that I just took, which did almost nothing. So the normal sword attacks by these minion skeletons do more than the fireballs, which is completely silly. And now this guy used to be the most... I guess many people saw him as the most difficult. Because his death spawns wheeled skeletons, which we know from Dark Souls 1 as being major pains. However, they toned it down for Scholar of the First Sin, so that only 2 of them spawn instead of 4. And once again, I have no idea why. It seems completely unreasonable that they did that. Well, not completely unreasonable. The point is, I have seen some of the differences between the base game and Scholar of the First Sin. And some sections of the game they made noticeably harder, by putting more enemies in, by just making them more tedious, by changing the way the placement works, by giving you access to good items later, and all that stuff. So in some sections it seems like they wanted to make it harder, and in other sections they made it considerably easier. For example, that Skeleton Lord's boss fight, where they removed some enemies that would otherwise have made it not impossible, but reasonably annoying, because wheeled skeletons are a pain. And I still don't know... I really have to get myself to stop using like in that sense. The thing is, it seems really inconsistent. There are some cases where it boils down to making an already difficult section more difficult, and some cases where they made a fairly easy thing even more easy. I may just contradict myself, but the Skeleton Lord's fight, the bone wields were somewhat difficult, but they were not content blockers or anything like that. They were not Ornstein and Smo level of difficulty. The reason is you could basically, even with a fairly weak weapon, you could kill 2 or 3 of them before they were actually done going through their spawning animation. So they rise from the ground, they put their skulls on. You could kill 2 or 3 of them easily during that time, because it takes them a while to basically be done with that animation. So that really makes it kind of easy. Well, they were still tedious, but beatable. Let's put it that way. Will this be enough? I don't know. Supposedly you get rid of that poison faster if you roll. I'm not sure if that's true. I've not actually done any measurements myself. I don't even know if taking off all your armor helps. I just kind of did it because it feels like it should help. Okay, good, that worked. I just about did not get poisoned. The way it works is there's poison pools in this area. Let's go back to the Alva set. So this poison pool here, you walk through it, and unlike the poison swamp, for example, in Dark Souls, they have actually changed that in a way that I find interesting and actually good. I find that is a good change. Well, It's a different mechanic, but I like the mechanic, basically. It was fine the way it worked in Dark Souls 1 as well. But yeah, it works. And basically you walk through, you're kind of covered in poison, which is why I suggest you do not roll through that, because then your entire body will be covered. If you just walk through it, only your lower half will be covered. And as long as you have that poison on you, your poison meter will tick up. So you basically walk through the toxic sludge and it'll continuously poison you. Which, as I said, it's a nice feature. I do like the fact that they did that. Let's talk to this woman now.
Are you a traveller? I'm Chloanne, an ore stone trader. I travel about collecting rare stones, which I sell to make my living. I never planned to visit this God's forsaken place. But I don't know. I just sort of ended up here. I must have just wandered in. But now that I'm here, I've been scouting around for rare bits. Oh, don't look at me like that. Many of these stones are quite useful. For instance, certain stones are used in smithing. Ah, now your ears prick up. I've extras if you can pay. This is my trade, after all.
So allow me to point out that that outfit she's wearing is not suitable at all for tackling this area. There are difficult enemies here. And I can't quite see why they did that. I mean, Dark Souls 1 had some breasty NPCs. Well, it had one of them. I guess you could count Quelax. She did have nice breasts, but, well, she was also a boss and the bottom bit was a little discouraging. But then you had Guinevere, which was basically just the largest breast you've ever seen. But I don't know why this lady has to show so much cleavage. Anyway, this is Stone Trader Chloanne. I think she is the daughter of this blacksmith we've unlocked in Majula, Leningrad. And right now she only sells some fairly basic stuff. She sells small shards, so Titanite shards. She sells Solar Peas, which, what does that even do? Inflicts heavy damage on mindless hollows, but has no effect on anything else. So it does good damage to hollows, but nothing to anyone else. Fair enough. And Dead Again, and that basically causes all corpses in a certain radius around you to detonate. And this hex is one of the reasons why you can't ragdoll corpses anymore. Because if you could, you would be able to stack up a bunch of corpses, for example on a location where in PvP invaders would spawn, and as soon as they spawn you could hit them with Dead Again, and because you may have stacked up 10-15 corpses on a certain spot, they would take a lot of damage and possibly die instantly, and that would be a bit unfair. So they made it so that you can no longer do that. If you wanted to, you could... I don't know if it uses up the corpses, by the way. My instinct says yes, because I'm a Guild Wars player, and corpse explosions, which there were in that game, they would use up the corpse. I'm not sure. You might still be able to do something similar by pulling a bunch of enemies in an area all and killing them all in the same spot. So you basically, you try to find a spot that's somewhat central and just kind of pull as many enemies as you could to that spot and kill them there. And then you would try to lure the enemy invaders, if you get one, also to that spot, and then use the hex. That would only really make sense and be worth the effort, though, if you could use it multiple times on the same corpse. Anyway, the stuff that she sells will expand over time.
I came here in search of rare stones, but the place is nothing like I was told. All this poison, and you can't get very far inside. Don't just go haplessly wandering about. These stones may look all the same, but to the trained eye, each is unique. Some of them are used to smith weapons and armor, and some unique stones provide special benefits. Some of them are extremely rare and should be used with great thrift. none of the differences are easily spotted. But I've learned quite a lot, really.
Fair enough. I will again talk to her until she has exhausted her dialogue and moves to Majula. Which is another thing that's criticized heavily.
Drang Lake. How is it that I ended up here? It's funny. I can't seem to remember.
The NPCs in this game, they don't really feel like, well, they feel less like complete characters with storyline, or at least a lot of them don't. They are just people you accumulate in your hub town to unlock more services. And in Dark Souls 1, there were really... most NPCs would eventually move away. So, let's see. There's Grix of Vinheim. Your beginning mage trainer. He will eventually move away if you go through his storyline until the end. Once you've bought everything he has to sell, he goes hollow and you can fight him in Sense Fortress. Because he tries to go after Logan but can't make it. Logan himself, obviously, he's kind of there for a bit and then moves on to the archives where he eventually goes hollow and fights you. That's a common theme, by the way. Crestfallen Warrior eventually goes hollow and fights you. The Pyromancer trainer will eventually go hollow and fight you. I think, well, Petrus will eventually... No, Petrus stays there for as long as you like unless you fight him. He just kind of leaves for a while and then comes back. Lautrec eventually leaves. He does not turn hollow and attack you though, you have to attack him if he leaves. And I guess Petrus, if you've gone through his questline, he'll stay forever. But in this game it's more like, talk to this NPC and you've unlocked his services in Majula, and then they kind of... they're very static after that.
I've searched every nook and cranny here. I suppose it's time to move on. Perhaps we'll meet again, if we live that long.
Yes, thank you.
I've searched...
Okay, and that's the end of that. And now she will move shop. I'll just show you, by the way, if you roll through this, you will entirely be covered in poison, and it'll take a lot longer to get rid of it. And now let's travel again. Back to the bonfire we started the episode at. I don't want to buy anything from Cloanne at this point. So, actually I don't think I want to go here. I want to go to the second bonfire in the area, the bridge approach. And I know I only need about 900 more souls until I can afford the bright bugs. So I'm just going to basically kill enemies here until I have that. Shouldn't take too long, I think. Okay. By the way, these guys hanging on the bridge here, I don't think they ever come up and actually fight you. He's just kind of hanging there. Not entirely sure why, but... Come on, how was that not a backstab? Or that. I find that disturbing. So to go on to the other boss of this area, well... Wow. Well, ignore the clipping issues. Guess you're not meant to see that. Yeah, look where you're going. Important message. Luckily I do have a... well, I have plenty of human effigies. Would be a bit annoying if I lost those souls, so I'll try to get them back. Shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah. I was trying to show you something, and in the process of that I kind of didn't quite check where I was even going. So that did not go well. And there we go, that's a life gem, and that's my souls back. I like to be human, so I'm just going to use a human effigy. You should really not be in trouble. Okay, so I'm not gonna move. Up that way is where we're going to go for the other boss. Over that. Okay. Over that bridge. And in there is going to be the Executioner's Chariot. I'll try to show a fairly cheap way of killing him, but I'm not sure if I'll have the means to do so. Well, not cheap, but safe, maybe? There's some things which I would consider cheap ways to kill certain things, or to beat certain sections. But this particular method I'm going to show you is actually completely intentional, and it was put in the game on purpose, and it is... It's kind of safe, but it's not really... Not really cheaty in any way. Okay. So bright bugs, they are very, very, very powerful, because they do give you a nice damage boost and give the enemies do less damage to you. So there are certain boss encounters where I will be very happy that I have some bright bugs, which is why I'm trying to buy them as soon as the merchant restocks. They become more and more expensive as you go on, and she will only restock after certain boss fights, I believe. It's kind of similar to the Stone Trader. Right now she sells a limited amount of small shards, or just shards, and nothing else. And as you defeat bosses and advance through the game's main story, you will unlock more and more stuff she sells, to the point where she will eventually sell unlimited amounts of shards, large shards, and chunks. So you can just farm souls and buy the items you need to make any standard item to +9, which is pretty nice. Okay, that's that guy dead. I do not want to stand in the poison. I do stand in the poison right now. Kind of doubt I have enough arrows for what I'm trying to show you, but I'll see, basically. Can't log on to that guy yet. Oh. Well, yay for that. Did not mean for that guy to attack me from behind. That was a bit silly. So yeah, let's go this way first. He should see me and aggro quite quickly. You don't want to go too far in his direction. And I'll show you in just a second why. And you drop a cracked red eye orb. Well, that's completely pointless. Right here there's a skeleton. And if you move too far, he will become alive. And then you would have two enemies to fight at the same time, which doesn't usually work out very well. And you get a notched whip from that corpse, rather. Okay, now in this area here, you want to be very careful and advance very slowly. You can see there's a guy up on that platform, on that pillar. But there's more of them. And if you're not careful... you will pull multiple of them at the same time. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna want to risk that. Actually, okay, I got one. This is the whip version. The whips are really easy to block. So these aren't actually very dangerous, but if you get more than one of them at a time, you're in trouble, because even with my fairly good sword, they'd still take 4 hits to die. And that's quite a lot. Okay, I think I only got one again. Okay, that wasn't too bad. It's a bit annoying that they drop cracked red eye orbs, because they seem to be mostly, well, that's entirely a multiplayer item. I don't really think there's any purpose to it in single player. Okay, you up there. You're the last one. Will you drop down? I've seen an instance where he dropped down and just instantly walked off the cliff. Down there. Just kind of walked down there. Don't think it's an insta-kill, but it's kinda pointless nonetheless. And from here, you can drop down to that item quite safely. I don't think there's anything down there I really want though, so I'm not gonna bother. Let's see, you can hit this guy so he falls off. Okay, I don't think I've got the angle on him. It works best with weapons that have some kind of slam attack, so hammers and greatswords tend to. Come on, I do like when you wanna, yeah, I do like it when you come up, that's what I meant to say. Because we now have a fairly tough enemy to fight. As you can tell. I think you can probably kick him off, but not what I'm going to go for. Yeah, sure. I mean, that was meant to be a backstab, but hey, let's pretend that's not gonna happen, right? He also suffers from the problem that a lot of tough enemies do in this game. It just feels really unfair, because he has infinite stamina. And he can combo his attacks almost indefinitely. And he's also very much capable of just ignoring the fact that you supposedly should backstab him from a certain location. I'm just going to die here, I think. Yeah, he also carries incredibly heavy armor, so that doesn't help. Okay, so those backstabs were a little more successful. I feel I should have gotten a lot more of those throughout the fight. Let's see, do I have any stronger... I do have some Radiant Life Gems, okay. Since I'm out of Estus, I might as well try. Yeah, might as well go for it. No idea why they did that bloodshot effect. This is a pretty cool boss concept, though. Okay, what you want to do at the beginning of the fight is move into a corner here, one of these crevices, and you will soon see and that's why. Now I'm looking for a particular thing. That guy. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, that's one of those necromancers, and he would keep reviving the skeletons. Now, let's see if I can do this with a bow. Okay, apparently I was not enough in the crevice. You are safe in these. Yeah, okay. So let's see. I don't know if I can do enough damage with my arrows, so I'm just gonna try and figure out the timing and we'll see how much I do. 59. That could be enough. It's just gonna take a while. That was way too early. That was way too late. I'm just wondering, do I do more damage with another? Yeah, I do. And the range is really not relevant. Okay, 93. I'm going to do this because I think this kill is a lot more interesting. It's going to take a while though, so if I remember, I'll put an annotation on the screen to skip it. If not, I guess scroll forward until you can kind of see in the preview that the boss bar is a lot lower. The way you're, I guess, meant to fight this boss, and I shot a bit too early there again, is I would move again further along, trying to go from crevice to crevice here, or from hidey hole to hidey hole. It would become a lot more annoying, but basically there's just more skeletons and more, well, one more necromancer and a bunch more skeletons that he would revive. And you would have to keep fighting the skeletons, moving forward until you could actually make it to the necromancer, until eventually you'd be able to reach a lever, which you could pull, and that would pull down a gate, and the chariot would crash through that gate. Wow. I should not take damage here. Maybe I have to move backwards from time to time because my arrows will move me forward. I don't know. Should be fine though. And then you can basically fight the horse, or the horses rather, without the chariot attached to them, but just the horses would then be the boss fight. Okay. So after every shot now I'm trying to move my character so that I'm all the way in the corner as much as I can. If I still get hit, then I'm just gonna call bullshit on that. Because I can't move after shooting. So apparently the hitbox on that thing is not the same all the time. It's just now I was fine for a bunch of drive-thrus and then suddenly I took damage. Despite the fact that apparently I did not move. And yeah, this kill here is more interesting, I find. Again, probably it's not too interesting to watch, but the result I think is worth it, so Just listen to the music and the soothing sound of my voice. And yeah, I guess the music will get repetitive. But hey, I've done this with a lot lower damage. The reason I don't like the standard kill is that it can be a bit... well, it's not to do with being unlucky, but well, I guess to some extent. Okay, I'm just going to call bullshit on that. His hitbox is not always the same. I should be safe in this corner, but I'm not. After the next drive-through, I'm going to change over to the other side. See if maybe this one's a bit deeper. No, I don't have enough. I don't know why I sometimes take damage. You see, I'm not moving. You might think that because I'm shooting stuff, because that's an animation, it might move my character slightly. It doesn't. Every time I have, after the shot, I do move my character. I attempt to move him back, it just doesn't ever do anything. Because I'm not moving. So yeah, bear that in mind. You're not actually safe in these corners all the time. Apparently sometimes you get hit anyway. I think that's to discourage people who are taking too long for the fight, which is totally good design. Because enrage timers are a really, really grand idea. I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking with that, actually. It might not be intentional. The Souls games, ever since Demon's Souls, have a history of really bad hitboxes. I mean, I could try lightning, but I don't think that's going to do much more, actually. And that was too late. I was just about still in range. I think we're about halfway done with the damage we need to do. Again, I'm sorry about that, but the boss fight can be a bit tedious if you move further along. The Necromancer is right at the end, and there's a bunch of skeletons before him. And you can't just rush the Necromancer, because you don't have enough time before the Chariot does his next pass. So you really have to hide in a hole at some point. And if you get unlucky, you will just be swarmed by skeletons in there, and if you get really unlucky, they might not get knocked down by the Chariot. And then it just becomes really difficult to handle, because you've got 5 skeletons attacking you that will eventually respawn, so you have to hope that you kill them all in a fairly close time frame, so you actually have some peace. Or eventually they will just stun lock you to death, and then get to the Necromancer, kill him, then you can kill the skeleton, and then I guess you can deal with the boss the quote-unquote intentional way. But the way I'm doing now is also intentional. It's very reminiscent of the speed kill, I guess, that people used for Ceaseless Discharge at some point. It's no longer really used in speedruns of Dark Souls 1, I mean. Darn. Okay, just about hit that second arrow. It used to be done. You would basically aggro Ceaseless, run to the beginning of the boss area. I'm sure you've seen it. Ceaseless would hold on to a ledge, he would hit his arm, and he would lose his grip and fall to his death, instantly dying, no matter how weak your weapon. So you could kill him with your bare fists in 5 hits, basically. And it's kind of similar here. So this is not a cheap way, this is... You're meant to be able to do this if you have a strong ranged option. I don't have a strong ranged option, I have a weak ranged option. But it just about works anyway. I've not been hit in a while, that's unusual. And don't get me wrong, I do really like this boss fight. It's just a unique and actually cool design. And I wish they had done more stuff like this in this game. Because it's a memorable boss. It's unexpected, it's not the usual huge guy in massive armor wielding a big weapon, which easily half the bosses in this game are like that. It's a cool design, it's different. The challenge with this fight is mostly actually getting to the point where you can fight him, unless you're using a ranged option like I am. Which, I don't know, it's a bit meh, that's really the way it goes, but it's fine, I guess. Let's see if I do have some other arrows. I can try fire arrows, see what they do. Oh, 150. I should have used those from the beginning, they do more. I only have 19 left, but that should be fine. Now, I would have much preferred if this game had some sort of means to permanently kill the skeletons. I think we're done. Yep. So you do not need to completely kill it. I wish they would have given you a way to completely kill the skeletons permanently. Like the divine weapons in Dark Souls 1, basically. Ow, 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 ow. Did I allow that? I did not allow that, now did I? So let's go back here, I think, for the Necromancer. No? Where is he? Oh, he's a little this away. Ow, 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 I do hope I can make this. But we should be fine. Another life gem pop, please. And yes, I'm completely ignoring the boss right now, just to humiliate him further. These items are just to bait you out, to grab them. They are fading souls, which are useless. They give you 50 souls. They are a worthless item. They're only in this to kind of mock you. So you try to go for them and then you get killed by the boss. And hey, here's Horsey. Hey, Horsey. Oh, I'm sorry, Horsey. So that's how you can kill him using ranged. It's very cheap, I guess. It's very easy. And it's also very safe, unless you kind of get those glitched hitboxes. But I only got them 2 or 3 times, I think. And after that, even though I stood in the exact same position, I would just like to make that clear, I did not move in between. So sometimes the hitboxes just wanted me dead. The way you're meant to do that is you kill the last Necromancer, you kill the skeletons, you pull this lever, it closes the gate, and the horseman kind of crashes through here, and then the horse is standing in the open at full health, I might add, and you can fight it. Just, it's a fairly normal enemy, it's kind of weak, it's not that difficult. But yeah, you can also do what I did and go easy mode, basically. Which would have been a lot more, I guess, interesting if I had more damage, range damage. But oh well, it worked out, didn't it? And back here there's a cracked right eye orb. Actually, that's 2 or 3. I didn't even read. Useless. And here's an NPC that will not talk to us. He's a Covenant leader.
What is it? Oh, you trot along now. This place won't be any fun. Not for you.
He will only start talking to you once you have a token of spite, which I believe you get those for using a cracked red eye orb to invade another player and kill them. And once you do that, he will talk to you and offer you his covenant of blood or something, which is basically, I'm going to guess, call it quote-unquote honorable PvP, You can walk up to these statues and basically do structured PvP against enemies. So look how the world is not looking really proper through those. Is that meant to look that way? The kind of windows above the... I guess it might be. It looks a bit weird, but perhaps that's intentional. So yeah, let's travel back to Majula, see if the merchant sells any more bright bugs. Otherwise, I can use my souls to level up. She has not restocked yet. Okay, so I'm going to use my souls actually to buy a bunch of life gems, because I did run low. And get rid of those, and I think that's a good place to end the episode actually. Next time we will tackle the area after the poison pool that I reached last episode actually, but I wanted to do the chariot beforehand. So I hope this wasn't too boring. I know it took me probably 15-20 minutes to do that boss fight, but what can you do? That's just the way it is. Again, you could just skip through that. It's fine. I like the special kill for that. It feels kind of cool. And you definitely saw that was intentional. It's the way the boss was designed, it gave you that option. So it's not like shooting the man-eaters through the fog gate or whatever. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and you will tune again next time. So bye-bye.